George, thanks. Last night we gave you a rare look inside Marinette Marine Shipyard as a Northeast Wisconsin workforce builds ships for the Navy. But hundreds of miles away from Marinette, some questions loom over the Navy's Littoral Combat Ship program, which awarded half the contracts to Marinette Marine and Lockheed Martin, the other half to a shipyard in Alabama. Matt Smith investigates the claims and strong reaction to them.
Target 2 has learned a number of congressional reviews have been ordered for the Navy's Littoral Combat Ship. Some in Congress have accused the Navy of a lack of transparency. Furthermore, leaks from inside the Navy, if they're to be believed, show some top commanders seriously questioning the effectiveness of the ships. As a Northeast Wisconsin workforce labors around the clock to fulfill the Navy's order, questions swirl in Washington over the ship's and program's future. In Bloomberg News last week, citing Navy cybersecurity specialists, a report claims the Littoral Combat Ship is vulnerable to hacking, saying a team found major deficiencies in the USS Freedom, the first ship built by Marinette Marine and Lockheed Martin.
The ship is secure, it meets the requirements, and we think it's meeting everything it's supposed to be doing.
Joe North is Lockheed Martin's vice president of its Littoral Combat Systems. We met him and Chuck Goddard, Marinette Marine's president and CEO, atop the USS Milwaukee, their third LCS under construction.
So all the official documentation tells us the program's on track.
Both do admit a number of issues with Freedom, including an initial crack in its hull. This picture was documented in an April 2012 report by the Project on Government Oversight, a self-described nonprofit working to expose what it calls overpriced military spending. Both North and Goddard argue any problems associated with their first ship are fixed, as 4 other ships are under construction in Marinette Shipyard, which many now argue will be the true test.
I think what we've done is nothing but improve these ships as we've gone. So the first ship that went out there, we wanted to learn as much as we could. First design, it's like building the first car. You test it and you put it out there and you figure out what's wrong, what needs to be tweaked. We took that very seriously.
Still, as part of the 2013 Defense Authorization Act, several reviews of the overall program were ordered for ships being built in Marinette and Mobile, Alabama. A number of lawmakers argued the Navy has not adequately informed Congress to the full extent possible on program deficiencies, including mechanical and structural failures.
They went through some of the growing pains that happen with completely new developments.
Wisconsin Congressman Reed Ribble lobbied against those reviews, saying the Navy has been forthcoming about its initial deficiencies.
You're having the proper amount of government oversight that's necessary, and you have the Navy supportive of it. And so the Navy, at the end of the day, has to defend their purchasing decisions.
The future, as in any government contract, can be uncertain, leaving Marinette Marine's highly trained workforce in the hands of Congress.
It's easy to sit back and throw rocks. It's a lot harder to do what we're doing up here and watching these guys get these ships out on time and make them out and get them out there and watch them operate.
In statements to Target 2 from the Navy, they stress the ships are fully capable of conducting the missions they were designed for, that the orders continue and problems addressed when found. A report from the Navy Secretary is due to Congress by the end of the year. 2 other independent reviews ordered for congressional investigators are expected to be out this summer and fall.
Mitt Romney wasn't on the campaign trail today, but he is talking Medicare and quickly trying to distance himself from parts of the Ryan budget. In an interview you will only see on Action 2 News, tonight the Republican presidential candidate talks one-on-one with our Matt Smith.
After that raucous Sunday rally in Waukesha, welcoming Wisconsin Congressman Paul Ryan to the ticket, it is clear the Romney team is trying to refocus on Romney. Your senior campaign advisor said Sunday if the Ryan budget would have come to your desk, you would have signed it. In a January debate, you called it a proposal that was absolutely right on. So I guess why now are you distancing yourself, at least from the Medicare portion of the Ryan budget?
Actually, Paul Ryan and my plan for Medicare, I think, is the same. If not identical, it's probably close to identical. Our plan is very simple, which is that for people 55 years of age and older, there's no change. The only change I'd mention for 55 and older is we'd restore the $817 billion President Obama took out of the Medicare Trust Fund.
The former governor cites the wrong number here, talking about the Affordable Care Act, actually $716 billion in reductions, a number the Romney team has been trying to hammer in the past few days. We clarified during the interview. And you're referring to that $716 billion estimate?
Yeah, the $716 billion is what the president takes out of the Medicare trust fund to help pay for Obamacare. I think seniors will be outraged to learn that money they put into Medicare is going to be siphoned off.
Ryan's budget, which passed the Republican-controlled House, would have included many of the same reductions as the president's. Romney says they're not running on the Ryan budget. Critics will say, though, while you say you're on the same page as Congressman Ryan, you are providing no examples of the differences. One you do mention is the more than $700 billion being cut.
Well, I'm not sure which critics you're referring to, but I can tell you that Paul Ryan, in joining my presidential team, is on board with my policy. And so we speak with exactly the same policy. Today, he and I have exactly the same policy. The place that there's a big difference is between myself and Paul Ryan and the president. The president has a very different plan. By the way, of course individuals are going to have some differences, even among those in the same party, but nothing compares like the difference we have with President Obama.
It's a sign of a campaign trying to publicly find one message, that as Vice President Paul Ryan would answer to Mitt Romney. What Ryan can deliver, the campaign hopes, is Wisconsin.
I think we're going to win Wisconsin, in part because of Paul Ryan's reputation.
Matt Smith, Action 2 News.
Now, Matt also talked to President Obama's deputy campaign manager, Stephanie Cutter. They're calling the Romney assertions over Medicare attacks and lies.
What we did, we strengthened the program. We gave them additional benefits. Prescription drugs, we closed the prescription drug loophole. We gave them access to preventive care with no out-of-pocket costs. So I want to be clear about this. The president strengthened Medicare. There's only one candidate in this race, who happens to be Mitt Romney, who has a proposal on the table that would weaken Medicare. The only way they find savings in Medicare is by increasing costs on seniors. The proposal that's on the table, according to independent analysts, not from me, independent analysts, would add costs to seniors by up to $6,000.
That $6,000, though, Stephanie, you do know that, I mean, you obviously know that was an old proposal of Ryan's and not in his current budget.
Right. And you understand in his current budget that they can't score. They can't give an estimate because he doesn't have enough details on the table. But just a year ago, Paul Ryan had a budget on the table that turned Medicare into a voucher program.
We'll be posting both interviews in their entirety online. If you'd like to see more, just go to WBAY.com.